I said, I want to see her do more interviews, and not MSNBC and not these puffer interviews, okay? All due respect to MSNBC. I want to see her go on the Howard Stern show. I want to see her go on Fox News. I want to see her go on the Joe Rogan show. Why? She's not doing well with men. She's doing pretty good with women. She's not doing great with men my age. I don't watch Joe Rogan. I don't like Joe Rogan. But I can tell you right now, if she went on Joe Rogan's show, it would help her. If she went on Howard Stern's show, it would help her. I'm not saying you have to go on Laura Ingram's show, right? I'm not saying you have to go on that moron show, Jesse Waters, that chipmunk. Go on Neil Cavuto's show. Do an interview during the day. Go on Fox and Friends. It's not going to hurt her. And people might be saying, well, Brian, why should Kamala Harris go on Fox News? I'll tell you why. She's not going to lose voters if she goes on Fox News. I do think they're being way too careful with her. I think the campaign is being way too careful. And we had their campaign manager on the show. Mr. Falks came on this show last week, and I asked him, I said, are you guys going to allow her to go on Fox News? And I didn't really get a clear answer from him. I'm disappointed. I'm going to tell you, if she loses, and I don't want her to lose, I'm coming from the right place here. I don't want to see Donald Trump anywhere near the White House again. But I'm telling you, if she loses, one of the reasons will be the same mistakes that Hillary Clinton made. They're being too careful, and they're not letting her do enough interviews. She needs to do more, okay? You do an interview with a podcast with a few basketball players that are supporters of yours, that's not going to help you. You go on MSNBC, it's not going to help you. The overwhelming majority of people that watch MSNBC are going to be voting for you anyway. Go on the opposition. You should be doing 10 interviews a day. You got 5 weeks to go. You should be going on Fox and Friends. And then when you're off Fox and Friends, you should be going on the Joe Rogan show. And then after the Joe Rogan show, you should be doing the Howard Stern show. And then after the Howard Stern show, do a 10-minute hit on Newsmax. And then after Newsmax, you should be going on Primetime. You should be going on Fox News. They are being too careful, and I'm getting agitated by the day. I'm glad that she's doing all these rallies. I'm glad that she's on the campaign trail. But again, all due respect, she's reading a teleprompter. That's great. You're speaking to people that are already going to be voting for you. You should be speaking to people that might not be supporting you. And there's a lot of people that listen to Joe Rogan that you're not doing well with when we're talking about polls and middle-aged men and men 30 to 60. You're not doing well. Do the shows that have those listeners. Why are you doing these puffer interviews on these podcasts that nobody's listening to? And if people are listening to them, they're already going to be voting for you. It's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts. And I'm getting frustrated because I want her to win. I'm coming from the right place. Don't start talking to me about Donald Trump. I know that Donald Trump isn't going on CNN anymore for the most part. Donald Trump's not doing MSNBC. I get it. But I'm not talking about Donald Trump. Now, we know that Donald Trump's a coward, okay? But Donald Trump won in 2016. And one of the reasons why he won, because he did interviews everywhere. Everywhere. And Hillary did not. And I'm afraid that Kamala Harris is making the same mistake. And I don't even think it's her. I think it's her campaign. They are being too careful. What are you waiting for? You got 5 weeks left to go. You should have done 5 interviews already today. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Vegas. You should have done 5 interviews already talking about how proud you are of Tim Walz and doing a bunch of interviews. Where are you? You guys are being too careful with her. She's a very intelligent woman, very well spoken. You know what I thought was one of the nicest moments that she's had in several weeks? When she went on Oprah Winfrey and she did an interview with Oprah, and she talked about how if intruders go into my home, I'm going to shoot them. That was an unscripted moment. It was a real moment. It was a human moment. I don't think anybody would fault her for saying that. And then she laughed and said, oops, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But it was great that she said that because we're learning who she is, and more people need to learn who she is. That was a real human moment. We need to learn more about her, and the American people need to get to know her better. And part of it is her campaign's fault for not putting her out there enough. What is the negative if she did Howard Stern's show? What is the negative if she went on a show like Joe Rogan's show? Now, I don't think Joe Rogan's a great guy. I don't think he's extremely intelligent, but he has a massive audience. And most of the people that listen to his show are middle-aged men. That is the demo of people that she's not doing very well with. Doing a puffer interview with a couple NBA players on a podcast that nobody's listening to is not going to help her. Folks, I'm not speaking a language that many of you don't understand here. I'm not speaking brain surgery here, okay? This is obvious stuff to me. I said this on Don Lemon's show, and there were a few people that disagreed with me. And then when I said, can you name me one negative, one of the guests, I said, can you name me one negative if she did the Howard Stern show tomorrow? She agreed with me, the person on the panel. Don Lemon agreed with me. He agreed with everything I said. I agreed with everything he said. She's got to get out there and do more interviews. The American people deserve it. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. You know my criticism for Donald Trump. She's got to get out there and do more interviews. And by the way, do interviews with the opposition. I think they're making a big mistake. A big mistake if she doesn't do that. They're being way too careful. So please, I am begging the Harris campaign. I am begging you. Please get out there and do more interviews. Please get out there and do interviews on the opposition. Please. We need to find out more about Kamala Harris, the human being, and less about scripted, I guess you could call it scripted and reading teleprompters at campaign rallies. That's all good and fine, but these are people that are already going to be supporting you. Please get out there and do more interviews.